Hi, Christina. This work looks good. Taking a look at scales. First of all, I want you to check your RGB values on your white and your black squares. And one other little thing, maybe in tones between the first two blocks, there's a little bit of a jump in terms of saturation. I do see that the value is constant there. Things look good in gradation of hue and also in gradation of value. That's a really nice design. In gradation of saturation, you've got the idea. However, value is not constant. You did a better job of that in the tone scale. And I'd just like to ask you to let go of the stroke with your Illustrator files. And in week 5, we'll make that an option. Hi, Lakia. Scales look good. Let's see. I want you to be sure that you have exactly the same color in the first box with all three. So you could check that with the color picker. Also, white should be 255, 255, 255, black 000, and for gray you want three numbers all matching somewhere in between there. Let's see. Otherwise, that's pretty good. Now, with assignment 4, well, I'd say the first and the second one shown here, why they could both be a gradation of value. What we don't see is a good example of a gradation of hue. That should look something like a rainbow. And the last one on the right could be your gradation of saturation. It's a pretty good example of that. Well, hi Vicki, these scales look pretty good. Your first box on the left almost matches in all three. Maybe check the first one in tints. And at right on tints, we want to see a pure white. So that's 255, 255, 255 with your RGB values. Black should be 000, and the gray should have three matching numbers. Otherwise, things look quite good here. Well, hi, Brandy. This is nice work. Your scales look good. All first three boxes match. However, let's see, with tints, you were meant to end in white. And in shades, your black looks pretty good. Should be 000 for the R, G, and B values in the color picker. And in tones, your red, green, and blue values should be all the same. Then you've got a neutral. Gradation of hue looks good, and also gradation of value. In gradation of saturation, well, I think you might have been able to keep the value a little bit more constant. Christina, these scales look quite good. The only little thing I might say is that perhaps values could be more constant in tones. What lovely design ideas you have for assignment 4. Everything looks okay, and I'm a fan of the gradation of saturation, which is a hard one. I would say maybe placement could be perfected if you intend to use this in your portfolio, for example. And another thing I'd say is when you have repeating shape groups, copy the group and then rotate and paste. Maybe we can figure out how to do that in a tutorial. Hi, Tanya. Looking at your scales, let's see, maybe shades is best of these, but I need you to follow directions closely and really make sure you're doing the reading, particularly the online reading. There should be 10 steps here, and I don't see that you're really getting the concepts under your belt. Now, let's see, gradation in hue. These are both labeled gradation in hue. And I do see different hues in each file. However, a gradation is a slow transition, and that's more apparent in the one right. Now, with a gradation of hue, what we want is to move from blue to blue-green to green. So I'm looking at the one on the right, and I'm kind of feeling like you've got two value scales or two saturation gradations rather than a true gradation of hue. Hi Tiffany, your scales look quite good. The only shortcoming being that the white isn't a true white. That should be R255, B255, G255. Now you have some sassy ideas for designs. Gradation of hue looks pretty good. If I had to criticize that one, I'd say, well, maybe it's a jump from violet to blue. In other words, there could have been another step in between there, but really I think it's okay. And look at that gradation of value. That is really amusing. It looks like eyeballs staring at each other or something. And gradation of saturation, well, that is what you have. However, you haven't met the assignment requirement to keep values constant, which means that this should look a little more like a tone scale. I'd like you to let go of using stroke in your Illustrator files until to week 5. Hi Althea, your scales show the concepts pretty nicely. They're just little things. Maybe the 3 first boxes at left don't all match exactly, and at right on tints you want a pure white and shades of pure black. And it might be that the value wavers a little bit in tones, but actually it's pretty good. And I know you were saying that you're having difficulty working with the HSB sliders, but we won't be using them much in future, so don't worry about that. Now, your gradation in hue, well, this is not the best example I've seen. You know, take a look at Brandy's. She has a good one. And the shade to black makes a nice example of a gradation of value, and the one on the bottom right can serve as your gradation of saturation. Robin, what a nice set of work here. Your scales look quite good. I need you to get out that color picker though and check that the first boxes at left are all identical. Also, you need a pure white at end of tints and a pure black at end of shades. Now, taking a look at your assignment 4, these are really nice. They remind me of sprinkles or something. I like the way the set of works, well, they feel like a set or a series, and in fact, they're all quite accurate. Well, hi Rachel, I'm looking at your scales and I can see you have the idea. I need you to be just a little more aggressive with a project like this. For instance, in tints, we can see that things move around a little bit. We don't have that neat gradual transition that would come from, well, doing it once and checking it and fudging it and just getting it right. Also, make sure your white and black are true and the colors at left in all of the scales, they should match, right? That first box in each one. Now, looking at your gradation of hue, well, that's quite nice. The colors aren't fully saturated, and that makes me wonder whether you may be in CMYK color. Now, your gradation of value is on the right track, but I think there's a subtle shift in hue, and you did need to keep the hue fixed. It's pretty good, though. And your gradation of saturation is just beautiful. The only thing I'd say about that is, well, if you want to use it for your portfolio, you could fix it up with the help of the grid, and we'll learn about that next week.